Hey Vince, thanks so much for joining the show today. It's awesome to have you here.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate the opportunity.
No doubt. And yeah, obviously, you founded Meow Wolf, which is super cool. Can you tell us a little bit about, the inception of that and what kind of
Sure.
drove you to actually start Meow Wolf?
Yeah, I was. We had different Genesis moments. Our first Genesis moment, our kind of true Genesis moment, happened in 2008 when a group of friends got together and basically said, "We want to start a clubhouse." you know, we want to like have we want to formalize the social group, and we want to start hosting events and throwing parties and booking punk shows and also doing art projects. So that's when we came up with the name Meow Wolf, and it was a total non-formal entity for a good 6 or 7 years.
Mhm.
And then as we all started to kind of fracture and go our separate ways, we kind of became adults at this point, and we were thinking about what we're doing with our lives. Six of us kind of said, like, let's try to keep this going. And so the founders of the business are six individuals. I'm one of those six that
Mhm.
then formed the business, pitched it to George R. R. Martin, who's the author of Game of Thrones, which is like a crazy wild card aspect of the story.
Yeah.
And we opened our first permanent exhibition in Santa Fe called the House of Eternal Return, which just totally blew up like overnight. Got viral sensation. And so I was CEO at that point of the company, and just kind of parlayed that success into doing these other exhibits in Vegas and in Denver, which we just opened this past year. So we
Yeah.
now have three exhibits open, and it's been a wild, wild experiment, wild ride.
Yeah, that's awesome. And how did you get to even be in contact with George R. R. Martin? That's wild.
Well, it's funny. Like, he owns a small little art house theater in Santa Fe, like movie
Okay.
theater. I applied for like a marketing position, like a $15 an hour marketing position. And when I called to see what was up with my application, they said, "Oh yeah, George would like to interview you next week." And I was like, "George is going to do the interview?" Like, what? So I went into that interview trying to get the job, but I also went in trying to like get him to understand what Meow Wolf was, just because I thought that there might be a relationship down the road. And so I worked for him for a little bit. He ended up firing me like 3 months in, but we kept in contact. And then I pitched him on the idea of Meow Wolf, and he loved it.
So he fired you and then loved the idea of Meow Wolf. That's awesome.
Yeah.
What's kind of next in the pipeline? I mean, is it more locations, or where do you see Meow Wolf going as it evolves?
Well, I'll say this: the heart and soul of Meow Wolf is creativity. It's
Yeah.
art, and so like we're an art production company, and there's a lot of different ways that art can be expressed, and it's like
Mhm.
it's that, but then that kind of the core engine of that is right now these permanent immersive exhibits. So we obviously are going to scale and go into other markets and continue to do unique projects in other cities, working with local artists on more exhibitions. But we're interested in a lot of things. I think creativity can be expressed through more traditional storytelling mediums, or more pop-up experiences, or really thinking about where technology is going and imagining how creativity is expressed through the metaverse, which is the term that like I don't really love that much.
Mhm.
But in the future spatial internet, how is creativity valued, and how is creativity expressed in the spatial internet?
What is that? Where do you see that going? I think you'd probably have a unique perspective on that.
The metaverse as like a virtual environment is not going to change the world.
Yeah.
But to me, that's not what the metaverse is. That really, the metaverse is spatial internet. And yes, you can have spatial internet within 3D virtual environments. Second Lifestyle, Decentraland, Rec Room, Facebook's Meta. These are all going to be virtual environments that are basically the internet expressed through virtual space, through like three-dimensional space,
Right.
driven by the game engine, so on and so forth. But the spatial internet, to me, that's really exciting, is how the game engine interfaces with the physical world. And that's, through AR, you can call it AR, but, when people think about AR, they think about just like, digital assets placed in space, or,
Hmm.
kind of art, like, Pokemon Go style. I think that that's going to be a big part of the future of AR, but not until we get to headset. I think there's a lot of other interesting things that can be done with augmented reality that have more to do with like wayfinding and with
Right.
basically connecting just everyday humans to the type of experiences that they're looking for. To me, that's like what's really exciting about the future of the metaverse is how it actually unlocks really amazing experiences in the physical world.
It's something that's coming to me thinking back on my time at Meow Wolf is the variety of exhibits, installation experiences, and I'm sure that there were a ton that didn't make it. How do you decide what to curate in terms of what we want in these buildings and what
Yeah.
people feel and see when they walk in?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, within the curation process, I mean, I think we look for work that is beautiful, obviously, that just kind of strikes that tone of like, wow, holy shit, look how beautiful that is. But that also is pulling you into, is kind of asking you to enter into another realm. The psychedelia is important. My favorite genre of music is psychedelic pop, or like psychedelic R&B or psychedelic, just when you can take something that's a kind of a pretty easily digestible format, but
Hmm.
use that as an entryway into something that's much more dynamic and much more, complex. I think like the Beatles are psychedelic pop and Beach Boys are psychedelic pop, and a lot of electronic music. It's like you can listen to it, bob your head, but you can also get lost in this world. And so I think that that's also the type of visual art that we're looking for is stuff that like is anchored in the familiar, but then reaches into the unknown.
Yeah, that's got to be hard to choose. When you're talking about music in Meow Wolf, one of the coolest, actually, I think still the coolest Meow Wolf experience I went to was before Meow Wolf Denver opened. You had like you rented out
Oh yeah, Dark
like
Palace.
yeah, it was yeah, exactly. And it was the coolest experience. Like, is there more? Have you thought about more like festival type experiences, like moving around and things like that?
Absolutely. I mean, events, live music is so core to Meow Wolf.
Yeah.
It's core to the heartbeat of Meow Wolf, and it's also a really important aspect of the future state of the spatial internet. Like I was just saying, like live in-person events are critical. Like it's basically like we're trying to provide really amazing experiences for people, and live music does that. And so, yeah, big festivals, even, but also like small pop-up performances, secret shows, these are all things that we're definitely interested in. And in Denver, I think we just announced the partnership with Live Nation last week. And so in Denver, they're going to be helping us promote the exhibit, the venue at the exhibit. But
Yeah.
we're also going to be working together to, understand the festival landscape and see what other types of shows we can do outside of the exhibit.
Let's talk about the international presence of Meow Wolf. How is it being received around the globe? Are you seeing it grow as like an international destination that people kind of want to check the box, or is that kind of more in the early stages?
I mean, it's funny because like the two exhibits that would probably be on people's radar the most, the Vegas and Denver one, opened in the middle of the pandemic,
Right.
So, and Vegas especially, so we think that like Omega Mart and the Vegas Meow Wolf experience is going to be very highly embraced by an international market, by an Asian population, especially, because in Asia, in China, Korea, South Korea, and also and primarily in Japan, there's a lot of immersive experiences, and
Right.
they were things that Meow Wolf actually was like looking up to way back in the day. I mean, Team Lab is like the king of immersive experiences. So, so that market is very well familiar and excited about immersive experiences. And so I think like that's going to be a huge draw, but we just don't know yet because like
Yeah.
international travel has been compromised, so much. So, but yeah, in the future, like we definitely want to go international too. Like there's Obviously, the Middle East wants as much immersive, cool, big experiences as possible. Like I said, Asia has a lot of familiarity with it already. And then places like Australia, I mean, like I've done like 5 or 6 speaking gigs in Australia. They love Meow Wolf, and so it's starting to like get out there.
So Vince, something I saw the notification maybe sometime this month, but it seems like there's a new CEO at Meow Wolf. Can you tell us kind of what's in store there?
Yeah. So I was CEO up until 2019, and then stepped down. I was like, for the first time in my career, in my life, I felt like I had reached like a ceiling. It was all too much for me to really handle.
Yeah.
And so it was the best decision for the company for me to step down. And so then for the past couple of years, the team has been led by 3 like very production focused leaders, and they did an amazing job. They got Denver open, they got Vegas open, really kept us on track through the pandemic, like incredible job.
Yeah.
But we always kind of knew that it was like a interim, solution, and that a true like next CEO was going to come into the company. So yeah, we met Jose Tolosa. He's the new CEO, and he's an incredible guy. Comes from Viacom CBS. He was a chief transformation officer at Viacom, and born and raised in Puerto Rico, first of his family to go to college in the United States. Like incredible mind, incredible person. So yeah, he just started like a few weeks ago. And so it's like, in a lot of ways, we have Vegas, Denver open. We know that this all works. And then now we have a new CEO. So it's like it's a whole new era, for Meow Wolf, and it's going to be exciting where we go. I mean, I think that like one of the most important aspects of bringing Jose on is getting reconnected with who we are and where we come from and what we want to do in the world, like the mission and the culture of the company, and allowing for revenues and profits to be a byproduct of that, like not less important, but a byproduct of that.
How do you maintain that culture as you scale?
That is a really good question. I mean, every company, I think, struggles with it as they scale, and we scaled fast. We had one employee in 2014, and then we had 500 employees by 2017. Just a wild ride for us. But yeah, I think like the most important thing there is that, let's say you have 3 different things to focus on. You have the product that you make, the customers who buy that product, and then the employees who make the product. And I think it's a question of where do you prioritize. And I have a friend up in Grants Pass, Oregon, the CEO of Dutch Bros. And he's like, employee experience is everything. He's like, if the employees, like the customer experience is only going to be as good as the employee experience.
100%.
And the product is only going to taste as good or be as good as the employee experience. So it's like the employee experience actually sets the cap for how good the other 2 things can be. That was really, eye-opening to me, of just like how much to prioritize what the experience of the employee is, and how that translates through the rest of the company.
Absolutely. Everyone should be focused on that. I couldn't agree more. Vince, thanks so much for coming on the show. And
yeah,
everyone out there, if you're in Denver, Santa Fe, Vegas, I haven't been to Vegas yet, but I can vouch for how dope it is. It's really mind-blowing stuff. And shout out to Armon on our team, who actually contributed to part of the Denver
nice.
exhibit. So thanks again for coming on.
Awesome, man. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.